You could call, you can text. 979-693-1150. 979-693-1150. Okay. I'm pulling the show over. We're only like barely 4 minutes in. A text message. I was giving you the number. Our first of the day said, did I just hear the LouPrint or did I mishear blueprint? LouPrint needs to be a segment for how the Ags win the upcoming game. Yes, you heard LouPrint. I cannot claim credit for that. Someone texted, I don't know if it was 1, 10, 20 years ago. The LouPrint. And that is the plan for the show each day is the LouPrint. I didn't come up with it. Someone texted that in. So I wish I was smart enough or good enough or genius enough to be fair. I'm not going to lie to you, but someone texted in and they called it the LouPrint, the plan for each show, the plan for each day. And yeah, I thought that was pretty genius. Didn't come from me. Some of the greatest ideas come from you. All the people that listen, all the people that text in. You know, every year we do a partnership beer, collaboration beer with Brigadoon Brewery. And then we give the proceeds of the beer, and it was Long Way Home Adoptables. And now it's Aguilan Humane Society. We try to. We do a collaboration thing. And Alan Ward Brigadoon Brewery, they brew it. I create the style, and then we partner with. Every year we try to. And the beer got named by y'all. And it's so simple and great. It's man's best friend. Duh, right? Again, all the best names, they're not me. I mean, think about it. I had to name my own radio show, and I came up with Louie Bellina Show. Wow, that's rocket science levels of stuff right there, huh? Woo! I named my show Louie Bellina Show. Whew. Give that man a raise. So anyway, yep, you heard correctly. It's the LouPrint. Yeah, I could expand it out and use it elsewhere, but I get a little uneasy naming everything after me. You know, Louie Bellina Show, the LouPrint. Let's go to the Lou Lifeline. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll try it. We'll see how it goes. Thank you for the text message. 979-693-1150. 979-693-1150. You can light up the inbox. And again, hey, people text about everything, anything. We begin the day, Maroon and White universe. Let's all hang out in it. Aggie basketball got a guard from the University of Texas. The 5-for-5 ruling came in, and a lot of players could have returned to their old teams, but hey, there was no room left. That appears to be the Jordan Pope story. He wanted to go back to the Longhorns, but guess what? They kind of had no spots left. So he's coming to Texas A&M. The Aggies have been sitting with the one scholarship left, and he becomes the 15th and final roster spot. Now, he's not eligible yet. There's lawsuits out there. Bryson Warren is not eligible yet. All of this eligibility questions, issues, are all supposed to be resolving themselves now and kind of right now. This week, but now as in maybe the ruling came through a second ago and I don't know. But Jordan Pope, formerly of the Longhorns, becomes the 15th final roster spot. I know for me, the hope was a big man. And not just any big man, but a starting big man. And then I think the whole roster would have fell in place. But hey, probably there was zero available because any starting big man that could start in the SEC probably was precious gold, rare minerals, gems and jewels. And if not available, Jordan Pope would be outstanding. He's recovering from injury, if I saw correctly. So that would be, Luke Evangelist, Twitter X. On top of Jordan Pope's eligibility, his recovery status is a major point to monitor. He broke his foot in the round of 32, played on it in the Sweet 16. He spent the last 4 months recovering. Curious to see the shape he arrives in next week when A&M returns to practice. So that's something else worth monitoring. So a great pickup signing for A&M. So, but again, I know for me, I was hoping, because Pope, an area of strength, got stronger. A big man would have addressed, I would say, the obvious area of need. Because thinking out loud, even if Jamie Vincent is a breakthrough, they still don't have depth. And we don't know if he is because he's shining for a team that has no one to push him, no one for him to practice against. So they needed another one, period, even if Vincent is the breakthrough. That was their area. Talked about that once the season ended. But it is hard. There's not enough out there. There's teams that think they're going to win the national championship. I'm talking about blue bloods that would kill for another big man. Great pickup. 979-693-1150. I have another text message for you. Dale, howdy, Lou. If George Foreman can name all 7 of his boys, George, you can name whatever you want, Lou. That is very fair. That Dale has a point. Lou Print, the Lou Hotline, the Lou Inbox. Thank you, Dale. I appreciate that. Hadn't taken that perspective on things, but he's not wrong. I have to, we're in the Maroon and White Notebook, a correction. I'm fairly sure that multiple times yesterday I said that A&M was 9 in the coaches poll, because yesterday the AP came out where A&M football was 8. And I'll bet you good money I said that they were 9 in the coaches. And that is incorrect. A&M is 8. A&M football was 8. So they're 8-8, which you think I could remember. But the years and the beers have added up. There's moments of not so much. So A&M football, 8-8. 8-8. So anyway, I just wanted to correct myself. Aggie Athletics sent out a tweet yesterday. It's either yesterday evening, this morning. I don't timestamp everything. And it just, remember how we talked during this offseason about really the track Aggie Athletics, the department on a whole, took last year. And, a couple of natties, national championships. And when you look right now, Aggie volleyball, number 8 to start the year, top 10. And now Aggie football will be 8 to start the year, top 10. And the tweet just pointed out a pair of top 10 teams to start the year. That's all. And it's true. Volleyball at 8, football at 8, because A&M's 8-8 in football. So that fits the direction, that fits what we saw from last year. And for me, the whole point was simple. Aggie Athletics as a whole is as great as I think I've ever seen it. But, and there's always a but, right? One of the big 3 needs a natty to finish it, to put the cement, the cherry on top. And I think even baseball would count. That's why I say one of the big 3. You need a baseball, basketball, football, national championship on top of everything that's currently going on. What was the statistic from last year? Was it 17 of the 19 played in the postseason? There's 2 national championships or 3. Everything right there is enough to tell you and show you and prove to you where the athletic department is, as great as it's ever been. But one of the big three has to win a natty to finish the job, sweep the leg. Another text message, Jake from Dallas. Jake, I like you. I like this. He says from the Blueprint, always loved it. Been waiting for a weekly hot sports take segment aptly named LouNey Bin. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. Jake from Dallas. Oh, he's listening via the stream. Jake, thank you joining us from Dallas. I will tell you something. There's a lot of people that think LouNey Bin just describes me, period. And when you say a weekly hot sports take segment, unbeknownst to me, I think I accidentally spit out some hot sports takes because I don't do sheep talk. I don't do hive mind. I don't say things because, well, that's what everybody wants to hear. So I think I accidentally do hot sports takes kind of daily just because I have a mind of my own. So my apologies, I don't try and piss people off. I've just learned I have that accidental effect on some people. Y'all don't know. I don't read every text message I get. And sometimes we have to save some of the emails for our lawyers. So, yeah, I just seem to have an effect on some people. Just saying. But LouNey Bin, that's awesome. So, okay. Blueprint, LouNey Bin, and let me pick this up. What was the other one? I got to find it. So, you know what? I'm going to make a list of these, and who knows? Maybe we'll just have fun with it. See where the world goes. But I like LouNey Bin. But again, when you say a weekly hot take segment, I didn't realize, again, by not just that I'm accidentally hot taking. But I've come to realize, yeah, I guess so. Now we're going to grab a quick timeout, come back. And when we do, we're just getting started. Maroon and White Notebook, Aggie football, and more. When I say just getting started, I'm fired up. I'm ready to go. The college football season is here. It's kind of go time. Got something. Share, heads up. On September 2nd, DraftKings Game Day, it's going to arrive. They've got massive deals, exclusive deals. It's an all-day celebration, and it's built just for sports fans. The countdown's begun. September 2nd, all roads lead to game day. Now, event trading offered by DraftKings Predictions, a CFTC registered introducing broker. Trading involves risk of loss. Market availability varies. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 every 7 days via click-to-claim issued a non-withdrawable prediction dollars that expire in 1 year. Ends August 23rd. Terms, you can go to dkng.co/predictions promo. Nationwide based on sportsbook predictions and free-to-play sports contest availability, and it does vary by state. With DraftKings, one app, every sport, all 50 states, DraftKings Game Day is yours.
Activate. Spend your Aggie football Saturdays, starting with the game day show, to the game, to the call-in show, and only on the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
The Louie Bellina Show. What is that? Two going at once? I mean, we're rocking, but that's just a little too hard rocking, if you ask me. The Louie Bellina Show inside the Charles Schwab studio. The Louie Bellina Show presented by CC Electric Tuesday. Coming up like 12, 13 minutes, something like that. We got our listening. Greg McElroy. As always, be college football top 10. Couple of text messages from 979-693-1150. 979-693-1150. People are making me laugh, man. That's all I'm going to tell you. Ray said, Lou, you are a Marine. In your DNA to piss people off. Semper Fi, and Ray himself is a U.S. Navy vet. There could be a reality element to that. One more text message. No apologies needed. You kill it all day, every day. Longtime listener. Used to be a regular at the Bellucci Hour at the Tap. Man, the Bellucci Hour was from day one in the history of the Zone. Me, Billy Lucci, live at the Tap for lunch, and it was Tuesday, Thursday, or Monday, Thursday. It varied. And we did an hour, noon to 1. And it was an awesome, incredible blast. We had the best time in the world. Tap had one of the best lunches in town. The crowd at the Tap was glorious. Live audience. We had the most fun. It was a different world then where athletes and coaches weren't scared to come out in public and talk to people. And we had coaches, we had athletes, and the crowds were insane again. And me and Billy hanging out, talking, well, just anything A&M was crazy cool fun. The Bellucci Hour, and I know I did the Bellucci Hour went on after me for a while, but Billy and I did the Bellucci Hour together. I don't know if it was 11 or 12 years. Oh, that was awesome fun. Holy cow, we had a good time. 979-693-1150. 979-693-1150. Maroon and White Notebook called this a scouting report, but I wish injury upon no player, no team, nothing. I don't care who they are. The University of Texas is currently dealing with a real big scare towards their season. Starting offensive lineman Trevor Goolsby left Monday's practice with an apparent knee injury. The severity was not immediately known. He's having tests done, yesterday and today. And Trevor Goolsby, NFL offensive lineman, preseason first-team All-American, preseason first-team All-SEC. 13-game starter left tackle, single most important position along the offensive line. And I'm not pointing this out as, rival hater. Don't care how much I hate the Longhorns. And I do. But that is a direct blow to their season if there's anything there. I don't root injuries or ill. I'm not that kind of fan. No. But that's news. Back to the Maroon and White Notebook. I'm bad with math and the English language and spelling and Rubik cubes. There's just certain things in life I'm not good at, right? Well, someone else did some math, and this is one of those things where you take it all and then you go meta. So yesterday, we got the AP poll, right? And there were 10 SEC teams that are ranked. And you could take Florida at 27. A&M plays Florida, right? Well, these SEC teams play each other 27 times. And with that means there's 27 losses for the league, because if there's 27 games where all these ranked teams play each other, there's 27 winners and 27 losers. I can do that. But you have to extrapolate that. 5 SEC teams made the playoffs last year. In order to get 5 teams in, 3 at 11-1, 2 at 10-2, that means you need 20 losses between the other 5 teams that are left out. It's almost impossible to replicate the records based upon the ranked teams. You got to take the 6 teams that did not get into that top 10. 16 teams are in the league. 10 are ranked between 27 and 1. That leaves 6 not. Right? In other words, 10 in the 27 almost doesn't work because they play each other. That's how brutal Texas schedule, A&M schedule, based upon these rankings. Because you know how I'll take these. I didn't do it with the AP because we did it with coaches. We did it with 1 to 138. Take A&M schedule and then plug in these rankings. Well, that's what this is kind of doing. All these teams are playing each other this year. The top end of the SEC is going to beat the snot out of each other and knock some potential playoff teams out of the playoff. Because 27 losses against each other. So this accounts for 0 upsets. I want you to think about that. 0 upsets are handled with this. It's a rough year because finally, and I haven't done this. I want someone else to deep dive this. But I wonder how much this is due to the permanent rivalries we have. Because a lot of these top-end games are due to permanent rivalries. I mean, Texas has OU and A&M every year. And OU and A&M are all in the top 12 to start the year, if not top 10. So I know Texas automatically has that on their schedule. A&M has LSU and Texas. And that's a pair of top 5 and then top 10/top 12. So you're already starting with that as the base. Maroon and White Notebook. This was good. This was an insight thing for me. It was Ralph Russo. And remember last year's Penn State team where it all went wrong? But not just wrong, but like historic, epic, implosion, like nightmare levels. Hit the red button so hard the button came off the wall bad. He asked every team in the AP Top 25, now that we have it, how could it go Penn State wrong? What a great question. How could it go Penn State wrong? Do you know there's only one team he couldn't do it? You could probably figure it out. If I give you 3 guesses, I know you'd get it, because the answer is Ohio State. They're the only team that can't go Penn State wrong. They can miss the CFP, but Penn State wrong? I got a great factoid for you. Penn State has failed to reach 10 wins in a full season just once since 2004. Now, this is 26, so that means in the past 21 years, 21, and me and math, maybe, in the past 21 seasons, Penn State has failed to reach 10 wins once. So, they're the only team that can't Penn State, because for them, 9 wins would be devastating, shocking, hand-wringing, and people would be asking, maybe Ryan Day has passed his prime. 9 wins. So they can't Penn State. Penn State was, the end of the world. And they didn't feel fine. So they're the only team that's Penn State proof. Now here's how the others can go full Penn State. Oregon, 3 new offensive linemen, 3 new starters. And if the O-line doesn't come together, they can go 6-6. Georgia is simple offense. Slow, plodding, uninspiring. Gunnar Stockton truly is a game manager. Kirby Smart's unimaginative. And they still wouldn't go full Penn State, but that's how they can go 8-4. Notre Dame, it's simple. They don't have Love. They don't have Jadarian Price. And they play a plodding offense. And they can go 9-3 and miss the CFP. See, full, again, that's not full. I know. Texas Longhorns, man, they got a million ways it can all go wrong. This offensive line renaissance is a lie. Arch Manning can't handle the pressure. And Will Muschamp is as out of date as some people have told me. So that's how Texas goes full Penn State. Miami, do you really think you can replace Ruben Bain, Mesidor, and Malaga? And these are NFL first, second round. These are guys that ate souls. Ask A&M. And then you have Texas A&M. How can it go wrong? I don't need Ralph Russo. And that's one of the things about A&M season. How many people have you heard here on the Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric? How many people have you heard tell you, yeah, A&M is one of my widest variance teams? Because you're replacing 4 offensive linemen, rebuilding your entire defensive front, 2 new coordinators, even though with Elko, I'm still really saying the truth is it's 1 coordinator. And we're starting there. That's the start of what can go wrong. So you see how it can go full Penn State. I think that's fascinating fun. And they did it for every AP Top 25 team, but I don't care about every Top 25 team. Like Oklahoma, we know that. Mateer can be Mateer. Ole Miss, Pete Golding is not a real head coach. LSU, yeah, replacing 50 players doesn't work. I mean, some of these, the further down, we're not even at the top 10 when it starts to become simple and obvious and not even hard work. But that's the parity, the thinness of greatness in college football right now. Okay, we need a timeout. We'll come back. Our listening begins. Top 10, according to Greg McElroy, a man who talks ball. A Louie Bellina Show? No, it's the Louie Bellina Show inside the Charles Schwab studio. And it's Tuesday on the Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
Listen to the Houston Astros on the Zone, thanks to Kelly Berdozer.
It is the Louie Bellina Show presented by CC Electric, built on faith, family, community. Time now, part 1 of our listening. Greg McElroy, Always College Football podcast. He did his own top 25. We're not listening. We're just doing the top 10. And he goes into detail every team. I mean, he breaks it down. He talks ball.
At number 10, it's the Oklahoma Sooners. So they're 10th on my board. They're 9th in the coaches poll. That one spot gap might be just the tiniest bit misleading, right? Because if you look at what they have, they return a lot of starters, 14 to be exact. That's in the top 13 nationally in returning snaps. You get your head coach back. You get your offensive coordinator back. Your defensive play callers, of course, your head coach. You're in good shape there. Your starting quarterback's back as well. And John Mateer being back for his second season as the starter, that's pretty significant because it's only the second time in the Brent Venables tenure that Oklahoma has brought back their signal caller. So 5 years at one of the biggest jobs in America. This is only the second time where they've opened camp knowing exactly who the guy is going to be. He's one of only 9 returning quarterbacks in the sport with 40 career passing touchdowns and 14 plus rushing touchdowns. He also last year had to get surgery on his throwing hand. He got hurt against Auburn there early in the season. And by every account in Norman, he looks like he's had a great offseason. He looks healthy. He looks capable. He looks jacked up. Clearly a good offseason in the weight room. So there's a lot of things to be excited about with John Mateer, but there are a few things to fix. He threw 14 touchdowns last year and 11 interceptions. 3 of those interceptions came in the Red River loss to the Texas Longhorns. The Oklahoma Sooners offense didn't play well in that game, but that was also his first game back from that injured thumb. And if you look at how he played after the hand injury, he crossed the 200-yard passing mark just twice in the final 6 regular season games. And what I want to see from John Mateer, he doesn't need to be a hero all the time. Just manage the game, protect the football, and give it back to a defense that is likely to finish at least top 10, maybe top 5. They could very well be the best defense in college football. And if he plays that way, then Oklahoma becomes a really dangerous team that can beat you in a lot of different ways. But if he tries to do things on his own, then the schedule could very well beat this team up on the offensive side. But what carried them last year was the defense. I'm talking, they were outstanding. They allowed 17 and change per game. They allowed 272 yards per game last year. Both those numbers were in the top 10. And that's how a team makes the playoff with an offense that was at times maybe a little stop and go. And I think when you look at Ben Arbuckle's job this year, he's the offensive coordinator. He's not trying to reinvent anything. Maybe lean on the defense a little bit more and protect that defense. Lean on the run game a little bit more. Protect that defense. And they collectively as a team can take a huge step. Now, a couple things that have to improve, and people have said these out loud. The offensive line has to be better. They got to keep Mateer upright so he's not trying to manufacture miracles on every single snap. That'll also help them running the football. They also have to finish. And if you listen to what some of their players have said throughout the offseason, in all 3 of their losses, they didn't play as well down the stretch and gave up some points late. That led to them losing the game. So you got a top 10 scoring defense that needs to close things out. And I think they have a chance to do that with some of the guys that are back. Now, the running back room may be a bit unsettled, but I'm very optimistic about what this group might be collectively across the board. Now, here's the reason why they're 10th, because I believe, and I've said this before, I think Oklahoma can win the national championship. I really believe that. But in order to win the national championship, you must first get to the college football playoff, and they play arguably the toughest schedule in America. You can make the case it's the toughest in the SEC. You can make the case it's the toughest in the country. Depending on what metric you use, it's ranked 2nd by some, 3rd or 4th by others. And it starts immediately. You go to Michigan week 2. You get a road game at Georgia. You got the Red River game against Texas in Dallas there in October. And I think Oklahoma, they know exactly how thin these margins are because last year as the 8th seed, they host a first-round game, and they lost that game after giving up a pretty impressive comeback by Alabama, who we'll get to in just a little bit. And the projections right now are not favorable as far as the win-loss total is concerned. I mean, some places are saying, 7-5, 8-4. No, I think it'll be better than that because I think this team is that good. But the schedule is daunting. However, with 14 starters back, healthy quarterback, tons of career production, and a defense that could carry them is amazing. So I think that 7-5 number that the sports books are throwing out there, I think that's absurd. because I think this group has a chance to go the distance and potentially win the whole thing. But getting there is significant. So here's my honest position, right? Here on the record in August, on roster alone, Oklahoma might be a top 5 team. You can make that case. I think they're a whole lot better than 10th. So if Oklahoma gets in, I love their chances against anybody. I really mean that. I just can't draw the map right now to guarantee them a spot. It's not a fade by any stretch. It's just a math problem acknowledging that Oklahoma might have drawn one of the worst pieces of paper in the country. If anything, though, the defense travels. They could very much get back to the dance. And when they get there, they're a huge problem for anyone that might be standing in their way. At number 9, it's Texas A&M. Look, they went 11-2 last year. Had a bit of a strange offseason, right? You tie a program record with 10 selections in the NFL draft, 10 players, 6 of them on the second day alone, with receiver Casey Concepcion going in the first round. And what the draft class did was kind of gut both lines of scrimmage, all in about a 3-day span. So what did Mike Elko do about it? He goes to the portal. He takes 19 players. He goes out and gets Isaiah Horton from Alabama. He gets Formby, who's going to likely slide in on one of the offensive line spots. You get Ricky Gibson at corner. You get Anto Saka, who might become a game changer on the edge. So it's not a partial or patient rebuild. It's not just, promote from within. This is a reload at full speed when you still had some really good pieces. And I respect the aggression. I think it has a chance to work beautifully. And what's going to make it work is probably going to be the quarterback spot, right? Marcel Reed, he is the ultimate indicator of where this team can go. If he plays the way he's capable, national championship contender. If he plays down the level of competition, continues to have some mistakes in the red zone, maybe doesn't lean on his legs as much, then you might have a few more ups and downs. But this is a guy that's a returning starter. He's a team captain. He's played 27 games. He's got 21 starts. He's thrown for over 5,400 yards. He has 41 touchdowns against 19 picks and has gone for over 1,000 yards on the ground. He's one of only 8 returning quarterbacks in the sport with 5,000 career passing yards and 1,000 career rushing yards. And Colin Klein's not there anymore. He left to become the head coach at Kansas State, his alma mater. He was the offensive coordinator. But to keep things consistent for Marcel Reed in the offense, they promote from within. They give the keys to the car to Holman Wiggins, who was the co-coordinator last year and did a great job with the wide receivers. However, he's never called plays at the college level. I'm not concerned about it because I think Wiggins is an excellent coach. If you listen to Elko's own framing, then part of why he did what he did is that he felt last year offensively they operated in a collaborative way, which means promoting Wiggins from within will keep things consistent, maybe alter philosophically just a bit, not a ton. I love the conviction. And I do need to know, though, what a first-time play caller looks like in October in the SEC. And it's not necessarily just the offense, it's the defense, too. Now, Lyle Hemphill, he's the defensive coordinator, but we know Elko is going to be dialing things up on that side of the ball. They do have good pieces back with Mario Craver back at wide receiver. He was 1A to 1B, depending on the week, to Concepcion last year. And I think he has a chance to have an excellent season as well. The big problem is that it's really tough to replace 10 draft picks. And yeah, you got a bunch of transfers. To say it's going to be evens is maybe a stretch. Maybe it works out. Maybe it's better. All those things are possible, but right now it's still an unknown. The biggest unknown might be along the offensive line. And that's kind of where the math shows up. And it shows up early in the year, right? That group's got to come together, and it's got to come together quickly because it was an elite group last season. You also look at the linebacker room, and you lose a couple good pieces there, but they do have a really solid piece back in Damian Sanford, who's got 39 career games under his belt and has been very effective. Was a little banged up in the spring, but sounds like he's on pace to be back. Will likely be ready at least early in the season. If not for the opener, then at some point very early in the year. And here's the sentence that people should be a little concerned about, right? They got to play really well at home. They have to play well at home. Kyle Field is a massive advantage. And if you look at the schedule, it's one of the hardest in America, but you have an elite quarterback potentially if he lives up to his potential. You have an elite head coach. We really believe that. You have a play caller that has been brought up from within, so you have some continuity there. And you also have a supporting cast that along both lines of scrimmage is going to be a little bit of a change. So I'm betting on A&M's progress because I'm betting on Marcel Reed taking a step. I'm also betting on Mike Elko not skipping the beat with how this team performs along the offensive and defensive lines as they move throughout the season. At number 8, it's the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, this number might surprise some folks because last year they went 11-4. They go to Norman, they get a win, the first team to win on the road in the college football playoff. However, it was ugly. The last time we saw the Tide, it was really ugly. Indiana beat them 38-3. And in the second half, especially, it didn't feel that close. So this is year number 3 for Kalen DeBoer. And everyone circling Tuscaloosa, everyone talking about the state of the Tide, they're focusing on the New Year's Day result. And right now, Alabama doesn't have a starting quarterback. So for them to be 8, like, how does that make sense? What? How? Why? Well, let me walk you through it. And let's assess the quarterback situation honestly. Look, Ty Simpson was amazing. First-round pick last year. And right now, it's a live competition between Austin Mack and Keelan Russell. And if you look at those guys, I mean, Keelan Russell was the number 2 quarterback in the country just a couple years ago. And Mack, he's in his 4th year in the system. And a lot of people say well, he might be the smartest guy on the team as far as understanding the offense and the terminology. He was also the first quarterback off the bench when Ty Simpson got banged up in the Rose Bowl last year. So he entered the offseason in front, and then spring happened. And Keelan Russell really closed that gap. He went for an impressive performance in their spring game. Mack was a little banged up. So there's been some smoke out of Tuscaloosa since, saying that Russell didn't just close the gap, but maybe in some cases have passed him. Well, I don't know if I agree with that. Not at this point, but the timing detail matters. Last year, Kalen DeBoer named Ty Simpson the starter on August 11th. That was right after the first scrimmage of fall camp. And he's already said this year that he thinks that this might go beyond the second scrimmage. In an ideal world, a guy separates. He's named the guy after that second scrimmage. You start focusing on week 1, 2, and 3 opponents. That might not be the case. So this may be settled here sooner than later, but it could draw out a little bit. But here's the other thing. Whichever one they go with, I think they're going to be just fine at quarterback. A lot of things around Alabama, there are question marks for sure. Quarterback for me is not one of them. I think quarterback, when we fast forward to week 5, 6, 7, 8 in the season, I think that will be a position of strength for the Crimson Tide. And look, you can't play quarterback by yourself. You bring back Ryan Coleman-Williams, and while he might be on paper the only returning starter that Alabama has on offense, they still have a right guard that played an awful lot but doesn't qualify because he didn't start 6 games. You also have Lonnie Brooks as the slot receiver. He played a lot but didn't start, so he doesn't qualify as well. But there is a lot of news surrounding the offense that might be good because the offensive line really underachieved throughout last season. So a bunch of new faces up front could actually make this group jump significantly. What's also beneficial is that Ryan Grubb is in year number 2 running the offense. Kane Womack is back running the defense for the 3rd straight year. So first year, maybe installing, adjusting, getting to know their personnel. Now it feels like there's decent coaching continuity in the defensive line based on what we've heard in fall camp. That might be the biggest surprise. They went to the portal. They go get Devin Tompkins from SC. They get Terrence Green from Oregon. You get Kendrick Billing-Jones from Mississippi State. These are 3 veteran interior players in one off season. So they feel like the depth along the defensive line is really good. They're also saying this might be the most versatile defensive line of the DeBoer era. And on the offensive line, we've talked about Michael Carroll, William Sanders, and Jackson Lloyd. Those guys look like they're in a really good spot there at guard and tackle respectively, but don't rule out Mal Waldrop. Rayson Delgado's at centers, a bigger frame, but still athletic, much like the guy Parker Brailsford they lost last year. And Javen James appears to be sliding in at right tackle. So those pieces are starting to settle. And there is a ton of talent on both lines of scrimmage. It's just, can they play well together? You have an edge rusher in Yanze Pierre that can take over the game, and you have one of the best secondaries in the country. So are there concerns beyond the quarterback and maybe some new pieces? Of course. There's a running back room that feels like it's 5 deep, but it's certainly unsettled. The wide receiver room is really young, and yet it's really thin as well. But the roster feels loaded. However, we keep going back to that one word, young. And young is not necessarily a synonym for bad. It's just a synonym for volatile. And I think Alabama this year has a chance to be last year's version of Oregon, a team where everybody said, hey, 26 is the year. Fast forward, next year's the year. And then they go on and win 11 games because they have really, really good talent. Now, the projections land them around 8-4, and there is a legitimate playoff path, though, because the schedule is more manageable than some of the teams that sit right behind them and some of the teams that sit right in front of them.
That wraps up part 1 of Greg McElroy's top 10 for 2026. And again, he talks ball. He breaks down the team. He actually explains his why. I love listening to him talk ball, and I bring some of his stuff here to you. He had A&M at 9, totally on par. AP said 8, coaches said 8. McElroy broke down A&M. And did you hear his respect for Elko? And he's totally all in on Marcel, too. I'll be back. We'll wrap up our first hour together. This is the Louie Bellina Show inside the Charles Schwab studio. I'm going with the Tuesday edition. Charles Schwab, Mark Sim, they have support. What kind of support? Modern. They take a modern approach to wealth management. They have, and what does that even mean? They have the financial planning to meet your specific needs. Why did you call them? What do you need right now? They got you. But Mark Sim, Charles Schwab, who's Mark Sim? Oh, he's our local Charles Schwab agent. He lives here in Bryan College Station. All he cares about is you, me, the Brazos Valley. That's nice to have someone whose only concern is you. But Charles Schwab, take care of your now, why you called them. But also, they have the flexibility, they have the experience to adapt as your needs change with time in ways you've never imagined. Because you're not sitting there day to day. You don't know what the future holds. But Charles Schwab, been there, done that. They've got your back. Mark Sim has got your back. Learn more. Go to schwab.com/College Station.
For Aggie football, home road. This is your home for Aggie football, home road or bowl. The Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.